Hello, and welcome. My name is Kristen Anker, your parent and teacher empowerment coach. And one of the things that I've been working on lately with some of my private one-on-one clients in the parent empowerment program is really learning more about ourselves. And this is something that throughout my years of being an educator and a parent coach, sometimes I feel like I have this gray area where I feel like a marriage counselor. And I am not a marriage counselor. However, I was trained by one. So about 5 years ago, I was certified to be an encouragement consultant. And I was trained by the co-founder of Positive Discipline, Lynn Lott. And she is a trained marriage and family therapist. So part of what we learn about throughout our parenting journey is more about ourselves. And I am so into personal growth and development right now. And I do all of the above. Like, I love learning about my strengths. That's one of the things I focus on with the parents in the parent empowerment program, is figuring out what our strengths are, our values, and living into those, And then also the Enneagram. I find that very interesting, and I was learning about what number I am on the Enneagram. And there's all different personality tests I know people need to take usually when they're in a corporate job. Myers-Briggs is one I'm thinking of. And you figure out like your personality, your temperament, and how you work. And what I have learned through my over 2 decades of experience working with families and schools and children is that a lot of our personality is actually formed by about the age of 5 or 6. So much of it is dependent on our early childhood years, on our relationships with our siblings. That's a whole fascinating side of what I do too, is our birth order and really figuring that out. But it's our lifestyle priorities. And so this is one of the many things that I work on with parents is figuring out what your top card is. Now, this is something I'm going to review right now in probably about 10 minutes, but it definitely is something you want to delve deeper into. So let me know if you need any support with this, and I'd be happy to talk with you privately. So thinking about your, it's working on your strengths, your weaknesses, or your assets and your liabilities. So how you figure this out is, if I were a FedEx driver. No, Prime. I'm an Amazon Prime. That's who we see more of right now. So I am a Prime delivery person, and I'm delivering 4 packages to you. And I know you're going to hate me, but these are the packages that I am delivering to you. I know this is probably backwards, but hassles, rejection, and abandonment is one of them. Hassles, rejection, and abandonment. How does that feel? Ridicule, criticism, and humiliation is one. Criticism, ridicule, and humiliation. How does that feel? We've got stress and pain. How's that? Some stress and pain? Stress and pain. And we have meaninglessness and unimportance. So those are the 4 packages that I'm going to be delivering to you as this lovely Amazon Prime driver that you're like, get the hell out of my driveway. Take all those packages away. I don't want any of them, right? You don't want any of them. So let's talk about them again. We've got ridicule, criticism, and humiliation. Maybe write these 4 things down. We've got hassles, rejection, and abandonment. And we have stress and pain. And we have meaninglessness and unimportance. So, which package do you most want to get rid of? If you had to keep 3, but there's one that you were like, I do not want that. Like it's the one that I said it and you were like, oh no, I cannot have that in my life. What would that be? And this is how we figure out what our top card is. And I'm going to talk more about what that means. It's our lifestyle priority. So thinking about that, and I'm going to give you the answers now of what they mean and what the 4 top cards are, and then how that might look at your worst and how that might look at your best. Because none of them are wrong. They are just, we're all different, unique human individuals with a very unique child bringing up, right? Very unique experiences in our lives, very unique brain patterns, neurosynaptic connections. Everything is unique. There's only one of you. And I know this to be true, we talk about this sometimes with my parent coaching, is that even if with parents of several children, and I actually I have 2 other siblings, so I'm one of 3, and that's what I have in my life. I have 3 children. I was a very different parent for all 3 kids. And they are 3 very different, unique humans, those 3 kids. They're very different. And I'm very different from my sister, and I'm very different from my brother. So you can understand that, and you can see that even though we all came from the same mother and father, we are very, very different people. And then you can also see this probably with your relationship with your spouse, like how different they are. And maybe you work well together and maybe it really works. Maybe you're the same type of person and that's why it works. And maybe you're the exact opposite and that's why it works. And maybe it doesn't work at all. So we'll have to talk about that. So if you chose meaninglessness and unimportance, if that was the one you were like, Kristen, I do not want that, your top card is called Superiority. If you chose criticism and humiliation as your as the one that you didn't want, your top card is Control. And if you chose rejection and abandonment as the one that you were like, I cannot have that in my life, you are Pleasing. And I think I actually have them a little bit different on there. No, those are about the same. Oh yeah, Hassles, rejection, and abandonment. And then if you gave away stress and pain, do not want stress and pain in your life, that's like the worst, your top card is called Comfort. And we do this work as positive discipline educators with children too. So it's really awesome when kids can figure out what their lifestyle priority is. It's really fun. And we don't necessarily call it those names. We have 4 different animals. I believe we have an eagle and a turtle and a couple other animals. A chameleon, I think, is one. But anyway, I digress. So I would love to just read these, a little bit more about these top cards. And maybe you don't know what you are, but when I read these descriptions, you might go, that's me. So I'm gonna just kind of read a little bit about if you are the top card of Superiority. At your worst, you may do this, and at your best, you may. And I have a lot of great information about this. So if you're interested in learning more and would really love the actual chart that I'm reading, and if you want to, I have a few different charts about what this is. I'd be happy to send it to you. So just send me your email in a message, and I'll make sure to get that chart for you. Okay, so if your top card is Superiority, if you wanted to get rid of meaninglessness and unimportance, at your worst, you might take on too much and become overwhelmed and overburdened. You might be like a know-it-all and you like to be right. You might look for blame instead of taking responsibility. And this is at your worst. This is at your worst. This is when you're under maybe some stress, some anxiety, some worry. This is at your worst. So not all the time, but at your worst. You want to do it yourself instead of delegating. If you want to get it done right, you got to do it yourself, right? You might see others as either better than you or worse than you. Little judgy there. And you might be critical of yourself and be critical of others as well. You might seem arrogant to others. You might try to hide your feelings of inferiority, and you're never satisfied. And this might invite others to feel inadequate or insignificant. So that's at your worst. But at your best, you're idealistic and you have a lot of social interest. You're productive and you're knowledgeable and you're willing to work hard. You make people laugh. You encourage others. You receive a lot of awards and prizes or degrees and licenses. You're a leader instead of waiting for others to tell you what to do to get things done. You're very creative and you're clear about what is important and you have a lot of self-confidence. So that's superiority. The next one I'm gonna touch on is control. And like I said, this is just a very brief overview, but I find it really fascinating. And then you can just kind of get a feel of what you are. So if your gift you gave back was criticism and humiliation, you are a control top card. And that at your worst, you may lack spontaneity, create social and emotional distance. You might be emotionally unavailable. You might hide your weaknesses. You might get defensive instead of remaining open. You avoid dealing with issues when you feel criticized. You sometimes wait for permission, and you could be critical and fault-finding. And this might invite power struggles and rebellion from other people. So I'm thinking about like this last thing that I'm saying is it might be how our children might feel. So if you are a control parent, sometimes we might invite power struggles from our kids and rebellion. But at your best, when you're feeling really good, people do better when they feel better, you're organized. You're a good leader and you're a good crisis manager. You coordinate activities, you are persistent, you take charge and bring order to chaos. You're loyal and helpful. You're reliable and faithful. You obey the law. You can be objective and logical. You get tasks done quickly. You can wait patiently, and you don't give up. So the next one is pleasing, and that's if you did not want hassles, rejection, and abandonment. You are pleasing. That's your top card. So at your worst, you might be too apologetic, always saying, I'm sorry. You might give in too much. You might have difficulty taking a stand. You're not bother to ask other what pleases them and then feel resentful when they aren't pleased. You might be distrustful and easily hurt. You're oversensitive. You don't say what you want. You say yes when you want to say no. You avoid dealing with conflict. And you may deny problems. And what this might invite from other people is other people might just feel annoyed and guilty and then a little resentful. Okay, but at your best, we all have assets, we all have liabilities, we all have strengths and weaknesses. So at your best, you're friendly and you have a lot of friends. You're considerate and sensitive to the feelings of others. You give a lot, you reach out, you show genuine interest in others. You're adaptable and willing to compromise. You're a good listener and you're empathetic. You love easily. You really care about others. You're optimistic and usually see the positive in others. And you volunteer and people count on you. And you avoid creating conflict. So that is pleasing, and we have one more to do, and that's comfort. And you are the comfort top card, or your lifestyle priority is comfort. If you just didn't want that stress and pain. You didn't want stress and pain. Oh, and I'm reading from the Positive Discipline Workbook that I use with my clients. So comfort, at your worst. You might be hard to motivate. You might be idle and non-productive. You might take the path of least resistance. You might avoid conflict and new experiences. You do only the things you do well. You allow others to do your share. You worry a lot, but you don't let others know how scared you are. You juggle uncomfortable situations rather than confront them. And you want to be taken care of. You just don't take initiative. What this may invite others to feel is frustrated and bored. So at your best, so there's like I said before, there's nothing, none of these are wrong. None of these are better than the other. These are 4 different top cards, and we all fall into one of these. Priority. You're stable and you're dependable. You create a comfortable and relaxing environment for others. You're a wonderful host or hostess. You're flexible and easygoing. You're good at letting others feel important. You're easy to please. You do what you do very well. You do what you do very well. You mind your own business. You do what you do very well. You just stay in your own lane. You mind your own business, and you are diplomatic. So those are the 4 top cards, and there's so much more we can talk about. But I just wanted to introduce you to that and to start thinking about it. Because one of the things that I've discovered, I think more so in my last 5 years of my life, I've been really focused on personal growth and development and learning more about myself, is that we can be the change that we want in the world. We can be the change that we want in our family. It's not about changing the other person. It's not about if he only did this or if she only said that. It's what do you want to be and how do you want to live? That's what's most important. And like I said in the beginning, people do better when they feel better. So I kind of gave you the extremes, the assets and the liabilities. At your worst you may, and at your best you may. So how can you live your best? How can you become the best version of yourself? And that is the goal. Especially becoming a parent, we have a lot of responsibilities and they are looking to us for everything. And so how do we become that role model for our children and literally become the best version of ourselves so that we can be the best parent for our kids? So goodbye for now. I'm Kristen Anchor. You can find out more at my website, kristenanchor.com. And like I said, if you would like more information, just send me a message with your email and I could send you some of the charts or tell you how to get them. All right, bye for now.